What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Kelly Michelle, and you are here on the Act Up podcast. I'm so glad you're taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me, and I am just overjoyed that we are able to talk about real life issues and be just open with it, because a lot of us are going through the same thing. Before I get started, I want to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You should see the link in the description area of this podcast, Kelly Michelle Official. Please follow me on Instagram, and I will return the love. And make sure that you find me on Facebook and like me, or I'm sorry, don't like me. Follow me on Facebook or friend me on Facebook so that we can stay connected. Now, here I'm a little bit more open than I am when I go on Facebook Live, because I guess my face isn't showing. So I don't have to worry about looking all goofy while I'm talking about the real deal. But we're going to get into something when I get back. I want to, as you're getting to know me a little better and how I think and how we may think a lot alike, I wanted to talk a little bit about some experiences I've gone through and my actions, and just kind of talking about how it can make or break the outcome. So we want to talk about some past actions and some good outcomes that came as a result of them, so that we can focus on being good with faith. This is a way that we're going to keep our faith up. We're going to keep our hope alive, is taking our mind back to a time when we overcame a crazy situation that seemed impossible. We'll get into it in a minute. Stick with me. It's your girl, Kelly B. You are back, and you are here with Kelly Michelle, and it's time to act up. For those just joining in, thanks for being with me right now. And I want to tell you what ACT UP stands for. The ACT in ACT UP stands for above crazy thoughts. And when we say above crazy thoughts, that means that we are putting our thoughts and our focus on things that are well above thinking anything crazy, well above any negative talk, and well above anything that is not positive and uplifting us. ACT UP played on words. From my childhood, I was always told that I was acting up. So when I got older and I started focusing on myself with everything that was going on, I said, well, that's one thing that I heard a whole lot growing up. Stop acting up. Stop acting up. So that's already embedded in my mind. Instead of me acting up, continuing to act up, let me change this. So if that pops in my mind, whenever it pops in my mind, act up, I'm thinking, okay, is my mind right? Am I focused on what I want and not on some negative vibe? All right. Just had to break that down one more time, and we'll be talking about that all the time here, because that's the title of this podcast, Act Up. So that is like the core of what we got going on here. Now, before we came back, I was explaining that we're going to chat tonight about faith. And faith is something that many of us have, some of us don't. But what we're going to talk about with faith is how it ties into your current situation. It's easy for people to say have faith, but how do we pull that faith out and believe what we're saying with everything we've seen? Bad, with all of the negative things that have happened in our lives, with all of the disappointments. How do we move that to the side and get our focus right on what is going to be, what we want to be, and make sure that we are believing as well. How can we do that? Well, one way that I have found to be very effective is having some things to go back to that you overcame. Going back to some situations in your life, whenever you're having trouble with your faith and believing that everything is going to be okay, go back to the time when it seemed like it was over. I know everybody's had a time like that. I know I've had several. Go back to that time where it seemed like it was impossible to get out of that situation. And guess what happened? You didn't die. Okay, you survived. And also you came out on top. It seemed impossible. Guess what? Even people around you, not let alone just your mind saying you can't do this, this isn't going to work. People around you were telling you that it wasn't going to work. You weren't going to be successful. It's impossible. Even through all of that, you overcame a situation. That's what you need to go back to every single time your faith is tested. Because the minute that you shift that focus from believing, when you're in a period of time where you need to really exemplify your faith, really show your faith, when you're in that period, the last thing you need is for some negative thoughts to come in your mind and you create a situation that is not even what was in the plan, something that wasn't even going to happen, but you're creating a negative situation based on the unknown. You know, we don't only think negatively because of what we've gone through. Yeah, that's a big thing that causes us to think negatively, what we've gone through in the past. We also think negatively based on something that we created, something that's not even happened yet. Because our minds are that powerful. We're that powerful. Whatever we focus on is what we get. So, what we're going to do is use that to improve our skills to keep our minds right, to continue to act up and be above any type of crazy thoughts that try to come our way. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell a couple of big problems I had and then show you how my faith was bigger and how I came out of that situation. And as we're going through these situations, I want you to think about a time when you were going through something and you thought it was over and it did not turn out negative. It turned out positive for you. It turned out even better than you expected. You have to have some things like that right close to you. Write them down. You want to have that stuff close to you because this is an everyday thing to stay on top of our thoughts. So stick with me. As soon as we get back, we're going to be talking about my situations. I hope that you are relating to me because I'm just 100% real. We're more alike and have more in common than you think. Stick with me. You're here on Act Up with Kelly Michelle. Big problem number 1. Picture this, a newlywed on birth control and on a roll. Everything going good. We're loving life. We are in love. Everything is going as planned. Then it's time to start having a baby together. He had a couple kids on his own. I had a son on my own when we got together. But now that we are married, of course, we want to have a child together and maybe even more. everything is going fine until 1 year passed by, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and no baby. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with us? What's going to happen to us? What is going on? Panic. The problem is, for several years after my husband and I got married, I continued to miscarry. I got pregnant and I miscarried. I got pregnant again and I miscarried. And then the last time I was pregnant and in the process of miscarrying, a specialist in the field, a doctor, said to me, "You'll never be able to have any more kids. You need to just stop trying and stop even thinking about that. Your body can't do it. It'll never happen for you." I'm never the one to listen to someone who is not an expert, someone who has not experienced what I'm talking about, someone who is not well versed in what I need to ask questions on. Not that person that doesn't know. A person that is supposed to be an expert said that to me. This young lady in a vulnerable position under his care. You'll never be able to have kids natural again. And guess what? For a minute, I believed it. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I believe it? It had happened before multiple times when I tried. So he must be right. Wow. I remember being okay because I'm actually a strong person. I get weak and sad, but for the most part, I'm a strong person. But I remember being on the speakerphone with the doctor when he said those words to me, and in my mind saying, okay, whatever, but I can't verbalize this because everybody around me knows that the truth is that I have miscarried again. So I can't look crazy in here and say anything about my faith or about anything other than what this expert doctor is saying to me on the phone right now. It can't be anything but that. But deep within my soul, I was saying, I don't believe that. And I know that God is not going to let it go down like that. And this is happening for a reason and at the right time. All while I'm saying that and trying to comfort myself internally, my husband hears the doctor make the comment. And he broke down. He was so hurt. He could not hold back. And I was so hurt for him. I felt like a failure. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt damaged. It was a very lonely place to be because there was nobody in the world that I knew that had experienced this. But God, ha! My faith was bigger. If you're having a problem with your faith, you need to change your focus. And you need to believe that everything is going to work out in your favor. Even with the doctor telling me this and me feeling even more bad because of how bad my husband took it, I felt like the nurses were looking at me like she failed. This is stuff that is normal to feel. It's actually a process of healing. Everything happened so quick. I remember, kind of sitting there after the doctor said that, and when I got off the phone with him, feeling numb. Mind you, I was on the phone with him in the emergency room, which I had to be rushed to because of complications that led to that pregnancy loss. As I'm laying there on the bed, waiting to be discharged at this point because there's no other reason to be there, I see that I still have this IV in. And I just, for some reason, I couldn't wait any longer. I just was ready to go. So I went to the bathroom and I just broke down crying in the bathroom while I was by myself. I wanted to be strong for my husband, and I didn't want to seem like it bothered me too much to the nurses around. But I broke down in the bathroom and I snatched my IV out of my arm and just put, a little Band-Aid on it. And I walked back out. And when I walked back out, I just was standing there and I'm like, when can I be released? And they were like, well, we still have to remove your IV and this and that. And I was in the twilight zone. And I said, I already removed it. And they said, what? You removed it? That didn't scare you? You weren't scared? And I'm thinking like, listen, you don't know fear unless you're going through what I'm going through right now. Bump this doggone IV. I didn't even feel it coming out when I pulled it out. But just lets you know that my mind was so cloudy at that point. However, my faith was bigger than what any expert, specialist could tell me, because he didn't create me. God created me, and he created me in his image. And I know nothing that God created is damaged, and it's not created by mistake. So I knew God was doing something. I just didn't know what. And I just couldn't imagine what it could be to have me going through this. Because I'm thinking about everything around me. How am I going to tell the people that I've told that I'm pregnant that I'm not pregnant anymore? What are they going to think and say? How is my husband going to feel about me tonight and the remaining nights? Near coming up. Your mind is everywhere. And I want to say that my mind was racing like that every time I had a loss up until that point. Something within me at that time said, stop it. Stop it. I don't care what it looks like now. I don't care. And I know it was the Holy Spirit, because it couldn't have been just my own intuition, because all I knew was loss and hurt and pain as my husband and I were trying to have a baby together. So the Holy Spirit had to step in and say, look, I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up. You're going to be one of the ones that's going to talk about this when everyone else is embarrassed to talk about it, scared to talk about it, not knowing what to say about it. You're going to be one of the ones that's strong enough to speak on this and possibly help somebody else who feels like their life is over. going through the same thing. I'll have you know, I stopped going to that doctor, that specialist, and I just started focusing on myself, my mental health, my physical health, and my spirituality. And I was really getting in a place where I have to understand that whatever is happening in my life is happening for my benefit. And it's happening right on time. Even though it seems like it was all of these years in between our successful pregnancy, it was right on time. Fast forward to my little girl, Dior. I had her in 2014. The pregnancy had absolutely no complications. Just popped up pregnant. No help, no nothing. On our own, natural pregnancy, no complications. And the whole time I had my mind together and I was encouraging my husband, letting him know, I know it looks bad. I know what it looks like, but we are going to get through this and everything is going to work out. I remember him saying, we've been together all this time and there's no babies running around here. And it took everything in me not to just break down and cry because it was true. But I sucked it in and I said, that's not true. It's just not time yet. So what I like to do now is I like to say, remember you felt that way? Wow, it just feels so good. Even going through all of those changes, it's more stuff that I will share as we get more acquainted here on Act Up. There's a lot more even with that whole scenario that went on. And again, it's all about your mindset, how you respond, and what you choose to focus on. That makes or breaks the situation. We have big problems. We have problems every day, but our faith has to be bigger. And to do that, to ensure that, we have to be able to go back to a time where it seemed like it was over. I know everybody has experienced this at least once in their lifetime. Once you identify one, and hopefully many times, where what you had going on did not take you all the way out, you were able to overcome that situation. Once you identify that, you grab onto that and you think about that and go back to that whenever you are doubting the outcome of something. And that will let you know that this is possible to overcome. It's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world. That's my last episode. I was talking about uncertainty, and it's big and it's not going to go away. But what we can do is choose to focus on ourselves. Start with the man in the mirror and see what can we do to improve. What can we do to change? Because when we change, the world around us changes. It changes because people see you, see how you're handling life, and hear your story. And then they can know that it's not hopeless. There is a possibility that I can overcome what I'm going through right now. But a part of overcoming is knowing that you will overcome. And that is the faith that we are going to make sure we have. And we're going to keep our minds clear and shut down every time a negative thought comes in there. And when you just want to say, sometimes even when I have things to go back to know I came out from, my mind kind of wants to say, no, but think about how it feels now. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how it feels now. I know what happened before. I know I overcame this. I overcame that, even though it felt bad. But your mind keeps saying, but think about how you're feeling right now. Okay, y'all hearing a little bit of my insanity over here. But hey, I'm just keeping it real. That's what be going on in my head. All kind of stuff. Okay? But the minute that we are able to become aware of our thoughts and attack them and flip them to make them work for us, that's the moment we change the game. I hope you enjoyed our show tonight. I hope you check us out. We're going to be uploading episodes regularly here on Act Up. And again, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. And I hope you remember to act up no matter what it looks like. Whatever God has for you, it's going to be for you and right on time. Until next time, my people, make sure you keep your mind right. Peace.